All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with Module 4, Lesson 1. In this lesson, we're going to first start off by cloning a repository. We're going to make a new app in Heroku. We're going to create a new database. We're going to go into Workbench, and we're going to create 2 new tables. All right, so let's get started by cloning our first repository. We're going to come out here and click Clone, and we're going to go out to our GitHub. And the one we want to look for is Module 4 Demo Start. And we're going to click on the little code button and we're going to grab that URL. All right, now we're going to paste that in and we want to make sure we give this a good name. So this class is CBIS 4210 and it is underscore module 4 underscore Marshall demo. All right, now I'm going to click clone. And it's going to bring everything over. I'm going to click Trust the Project. And let's bring that back over here so we can see what's going on. And we will bring that all in. And let's bring this right in here so we can see it. Okay, so again, notice first right off the bat, we do not have an interpreter down here. So I'm going to click that button, scroll all the way down, add new interpreter, add a local interpreter. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to double check that it's 3.12 and that it's inside my Module 4 Marshall demo folder and it's the VENV. I'm going to click OK. And it's going to make that new folder for me. And you'll notice it pops right up here, which is good. It'll build out the whole all that stuff. And right off the bat, first thing I do is pip install -r requirements, and it's going to read everything in my requirements document. It's going to install it real quick, including the Flask and all those other things. Gunicorn, everything. Okay. All right. So now we have our environment set up. Right off the bat, we want to make sure that we have a good database, and in our DB Connect file, we want to make sure we can put that stuff in here. Okay. So we're going to open up our Heroku dashboard, and I'm going to click on New, Create App. And in this app, I'm going to call it CBIS 4210 Module 04 Marshall Demo. Okay, and it says it's already been done, so I'm going to just call it Dem. Okay, all right, I'm going to create that app. All right. And then in the app, we are going to go straight to resources and we're going to click in here. I'm just going to type in JAWS. I'm going to grab the MySQL one, just like before, submit the order form and wait for it to provision. Usually happens pretty fast. And we're going to click on it and get our license or our login information. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this code here and I'm going to open up my Workbench. Okay, I'm going to create a new connection. And here I'm just going to call it Module 4 Demo. So I remember which one it is. I'm going to paste my AWS in there and make sure I don't have any spaces at the end or at the beginning. That looks nice. All right, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to copy my username. Okay, and paste that here. And then I want to go back and paste in my password. Okay, come back over here, and we're going to store it in the vault. And then the last thing I want to get is my database schema, otherwise known as the database. All right, grab that, and we go back and paste it in here. Now remember, before we keep moving, we test our connection. All right, connection works. We click OK. We click OK again. All right, now we were going to make 2 tables today, okay? And this is going to be part of the demo, okay? So 2 tables. So I'm going to log into Demo 4, all right? And I'm going to make sure I'm in Schema View. I'm going to click on Table. I'm just going to say Create Table. All right, and the first table we're going to make is a book table. So we have book. I like books. We'll add an S on the end. So books. And we'll go book ID. And we'll say PK, primary key, not null, and auto increment. And every book has a name. So we'll call it book name. And every book has a page count. So we'll call it page count. And this one we'll make it an integer because really page count doesn't have half a page. All right, so we'll just call it integer for whole numbers. And then the last one we'll do is author ID, and that will also be an integer. All right, now the interesting thing is this author ID is actually going to be in our second table. Okay, so I'm going to click apply again. I'm going to click finish. Now I'm going to make a new table. Okay, create table, and we have authors and author ID. Make sure it's an int, primary key, auto incremented, and not null. And every author, hopefully, has a first name, okay, and a last name. All right, and I'm going to click apply. Now, what we want to do is we want to link those two together. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my first one here, and I'm going to come down here in foreign keys. Okay, and I'm just going to give it a name. I'm going to say it author foreign key. Okay, and the reference table, okay, is going to be the authors, and it's author ID referenced to author ID. Okay, so that's pretty good. So right here, we're referencing from our books table. We're going out to authors, and we're grabbing the author ID, and we're linking the two together. Okay, author ID on author ID. Okay, now over here is the important part. Over here on update, we want to cascade. And on delete, we want to cascade. Now, what this means is, if I'm in the authors table and I delete an author, it will go in and it will delete all the books from that author. Okay? So we have to be careful with this. But if you think about it, we don't want a bunch of books that are linked up with an author ID that doesn't exist. So if we delete an author, it should delete all the books. Okay? And that's what we're going to try. So I'm going to click apply. I'm going to click apply again. And I'm going to click finish. Okay, now if we come back and look at our table schema, okay, and go to books, notice that author ID is in bold because it has a foreign key attached to it. Okay, so we are good to go. All right, now that's what you're going to do for step one. I guess the last thing we can do is also go in and change out our information here. So we're going to go into our app, go to DB Connect, and we're going to change out these 4 things. So I'm going to go back to my web, and I'm just going to grab them in that order, and I'm just going to paste them in. So the first one was the database. So I'm going to delete everything out of here except for the quotes. I'm going to paste it in. That's the database. Then I'm going to grab the password, and I'm going to put that password right here, leaving the quotes. Then I'm going to grab let's go back and grab it. I'm going to grab the username. All right. And put that in here. And then lastly, I'm going to grab the AWS where the actual server sits. And I'm going to put that in there. And the whole time checking that I don't mess up the single quotes and I don't have spaces on the backside. All right. So my database is right, but my database structure is not. Okay. So we can go into chat. Okay. We can go into chat and we can tell it, here's my structure. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to copy that whole structure. Okay. I'm going to go back to chat, and I'm going to paste that in. And then I'm going to go back to my workbench, and I'm going to click on the other book, and I'm just going to copy that whole thing, like so. I'm going to go back over to my chat, and I think if you hold the shift button down, you can hit enter a couple times. Okay. So it's all there. And then at the very top, I'm going to tell it, make this into a DBML format. And I'm just going to hit enter, and it's going to put both those into a DBML format. And then I can also tell it the author ID in books is a foreign key, just like that. And it will redo it. And notice it does it in DBML format. All right. So I'm going to copy all that, okay, just like that. And I'm going to put it right into my database document so that you can remember what it is and have a copy of it all the time. And that is good. All right. So we can close that. And that right there is video 1 for lesson number 4, lesson module 4.